Diem webinar. We have some really great things that we'll be sharing today with you guys. Uh, our speakers for today will be Brooke Conley, our client services manager, Kathy Valmer, the vice president of Greenstaff Medical, and Kunal Badwar, sales manager, situated in India, and they will be giving you guys the complete rundown of today's presentation. So I'll be handing it over to Brooke. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. I'll just give a quick synopsis of what we will cover. A few things we'll cover, but I'm sure you will get lots more info in between. We're going to start with what are per diem shifts, just the basics, and then the advantages and disadvantages of working per diem, finding and securing per diem shifts, compensation and taxes as it pertains to per diem workers, and benefits and insurance offered for per diem workers as well.
Nice.
Lots of info mentioned on this slide. I won't go through it verbatim, of course, you all can read through it, but basically the benefits of per diem and what exactly it means. Per diem is mutually beneficial, I would say, to both clinicians and facilities for multiple reasons, but the main one being flexibility. So whenever a clinician is working per diem, they are really able to self-schedule. What that looks like is sharing your availability ahead of time. Some facilities book out per diem 4 to 6 weeks in advance, so you can look at your full-time schedule or your school schedule or your kids' schedule or whatever your lifestyle requires, and you are able to identify shifts that you are available for, and you can make your schedule fit your lifestyle. So what that looks like is generally 1 to 3 shifts per week. Many people work a full-time schedule per diem, and others just pick up a shift or two here and there to keep their skills sharp or to work around their personal life. So it's very flexible depending on your life's needs. It's a benefit for the healthcare facilities as well because they are able to fill last-minute shifts. They're also able to supplement their full-time staff. So they can look at the schedule over the next few weeks and see where they're going to have gaps in their full-time staff, maybe if there's any surge in census, if there's a holiday coming up, or somebody is going to be out on their full-time roster. So they're able to plan in advance and plug different per diem clinicians into those shifts. So it's very beneficial for the facilities as well. Ultimately, it's greater control of the schedule from both the clinician side and the facility side. You're going to see that the per diem rates through agencies, specifically I'll speak on Greenstaff Medical, are generally higher than a full-time salary if you are able to accept a position directly with the facility versus if you work per diem through an agency. The reason that they pay a premium on that is because the facility themselves are not having to supply benefits or anything of that sort to the clinician, since you would be an employee of the agency. So those benefits would come directly from the agency, and you would generally have a higher pay package or higher hourly rate than a full-time position. So sort of a win-win-win across the board in our perspective. I'm going to mention here a little bit of differences between per diem and travel nursing. As many of you know, we have a big presence in both of those areas. So you'll see Greenstaff Medical often with travel nursing or travel clinician positions. Not just nurses, that should definitely include allied professionals, physicians, advanced practice, all of that. But per diem is truly the difference in scheduling. So travel nursing looks like positions that are guaranteed hours, usually for a specific length of time, usually about 3 months, where you're contracted to work a certain number of shifts. Those are full-time positions that require you to work the schedule as demanded by the facility. So if you are contracted to work 3 shifts per week, usually those 3 shifts will look like whatever the facility is needing, just like a full-time position. On the per diem side, however, usually it is fully flexible. So you're able to design your schedule as it pertains to your life. As mentioned, one big difference you'll see, generally speaking, is per diem positions will be local to you. So you will generally pick up a local position, local per diem position If you're in a metro area, we usually will have a couple of different per diem options for you that you can work in between your full-time job or whatever else you have going on. Travel positions are a bit different. Usually those are 50 miles or more from your location that you actually reside, and usually includes travel stipend, something of that sort, because the expectation is that you're traveling away from home and you are not going to be local. So you need to pay for housing and that sort of thing, which is why it's supplemented by a stipend. Generally speaking, on travel as well, because it is full-time, the benefits are a little more robust. You're a full-time employee, so you'll have a bit more options on that side. And you'll obviously be traveling, so you're not going to be local to home. That can be a pro and con depending on your lifestyle. If you're wanting to stay home, per diem is a great option, or even a local contract. If you're wanting to visit different areas of the country, you can spend a quarter of the year in the mountains, a quarter of the year on the beach, quarter of the year anywhere you want to. That is generally leaning towards travel.
Thank you for that, Brooke. And now we'll have Kathy that will be taking us through the advantages of working per diem shifts.
And thank you, everyone. And I add to Brooke and thanking everyone for being on this call. As Brooke had mentioned, having the ability to work a per diem work model has benefits for both the facility, but also for you as the individual. So we really want to talk about the benefits of working per diem for you as the individual clinician. And of course, we're talking a lot about the flexible schedule, and that's so important. Because as we all have different things going on in our lives, many times we need that flexibility to be able to work, even if it's a set different type of shift, or you're wanting to just work weekends, or you're just wanting to work without weekends, etc. The difference is if you work per diem in a hospital, many times they have per diem requirements where you have to work a set number of shifts, a set number of holidays, or a set number of weekends, etc. In working with us, you would not have that type of requirement at all. And again, it's based on your schedule and your flexibility. And of course, the availability of work being available during that set time. We talk a lot about work-life balance. All of us want that work-life balance, right? This allows you to have that flexibility so you can work around your school for yourself, maybe your children or kids or their activities, or things that you have personally going on in your life that you're able to balance that and still keep your clinical skills and be able to work as a clinician and to earn a wage. There is no relocation required, as Brooke had mentioned. In travel, you travel to an area. This allows you to stay in your area, so you don't have to duplicate and find a place to live or uproot yourself or move things or find storage, etc. You're able to stay in one area, keeping your license and everything going where you're at. You're also able to maybe, it says easier transition between jobs, but what it allows you to do is maybe you want to try to see what it's like to work at various different facilities. You may not know where you want to work. You might think that you want to work at hospital A, but then you find out after you work per diem and working a couple of different places that maybe hospital C or D were your favorite places. So it allows the flexibility of not just the shift and your schedule, but allowing you the flexibility to maybe work between different facilities or different positions or different locations so that you can find that place where you're most comfortable. A lot of people will say that they like working per diem too, as they get to move around and they don't get caught up in maybe the politics of working within a facility. So it allows you that freedom to be a little bit more removed from what's going on an everyday basis at that hospital or long-term care facility or clinic. I know we talk a lot about hospitals, and I know we'll see more as we get through this, but there are a variety of different places where you have the opportunity to work. As Brooke had mentioned, it is generally a higher pay rate that you have, and we do see day, evening, night differentials. We do see weekend differentials at times, and at times we're also still seeing incentives for those very last minute positions to be filled. Again, it comes with being credentialed and on board and approved for that facility that we will be talking about also. So it allows you to work in a variety of different facilities, but it also allows you to work with different patient populations that you might not normally have the ability or opportunity to work in, and also work cultures. Each facility has their own culture and allows you to see different cultures and what works best for you and your background and your interest and how you work best.
Thank you for that, Kathy. And now we'll just take a short intermission just to show you guys how you can get in contact with us. So our YouTube is Greenstaff Medical USA. Our Facebook is at Greenstaff Medical USA. The same goes for LinkedIn, and you can visit us our website at greenstaffmedical.com. Now we will be having Kunal take us through the process of how you can get started with us as a per diem healthcare professional.
Thank you, Rafai. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. My name is Kunal. So I'll start with that how can you reach out to us? We do have multiple ways by which you can connect with us. You can visit our website, which is greenstaffmedical.com, and apply on one of our any of our position based on your eligibility from the variety of positions that we have available. And then the other way is that you can give us a call on our per diem helpline number on your screens, which is 469-518-1689. And one of our experienced healthcare recruiter will be available for your assistance. And then the third way that we have available is you can send us an email at applynow-per-diem@greenstaffmedical.com. And the last way is you can just take a screenshot of your screen and use the QR code on your display, and it will allow you to click on fill a form, and one of our healthcare recruiter will reach out to you regarding the positions that we have available. Okay. Now, I'll discuss a few details about the process timelines. And as soon as we receive all the required documents, we will submit your application to the facilities, and then we can expect a response from them within 2 to 3 business days. And when we receive the offer, we usually have 24 hours to accept the offer. And once you agree to accept the offer, we do start with the credentialing process, which generally takes up to 2 weeks, but in certain situation it can take up to 3 weeks as well, based on different clients' requirement to get the clearance to start working over there. And then one of our dedicated credentialing specialists will be assigned to each candidate, and throughout the process they will be available to provide all the assistance and wherever the help is required. As soon as you get the clearance to start working at the facility, one of our assigned healthcare scheduler will be available at all times to provide you assistance with booking your shifts at the facility, and will be the mediator between you and the client for booking or cancellations of any of the shifts.
Thank you so much, Kunal. Kathy will be taking us through what Greenstaff offers and so much more. Thank you, Kathy.
Sure. What do we offer? It looks like a lot, right? And it should be. As we mentioned, we might be having you work one facility, you might want to work 2 facilities, but the biggest thing is that you're going to want to be supported. You're going to want to be supported by people who are dedicated to helping you through specific parts of that process, but also supporting you throughout the whole time you are working with us. So we have experienced, dedicated specialists that will work with you, and you'll have somebody that is assigned specifically to you that knows your background, your state, your experience, and the facility that you are going to be working in. We, again, have the ability to have you work between per diem, which we hope you work per diem, but say that you do want to go and try a travel contract someplace. You're able to go to that travel contract, and then you're able to come back and work per diem. So we want to have that we're one company and you can work between our various different teams. Your file is still the same. We all have access and visibility to it. It's one record, so you could do multiple things, and we meet you where you need to be met at. We do have a dedicated housing and travel team that can work with you, and we have that. So we do have some people who might want to try to go a little bit further out and take a per diem assignment that might require them to maybe stay in a hotel for a couple of nights. Or again, if you go into a travel assignment, you might want some help with some of the housing, and we do have resources who will work with you. We do provide continued education. Education and continued professional development and growth for our healthcare practitioners is extremely important to us. We know that you are constantly growing in your profession and want to continue growing in your profession. So we provide those opportunities for continued education, and it could include advanced certifications in some of the areas that you may be looking to get advanced certifications in also. We do have referral bonuses up to $1,000 after 4 weeks, so we highly encourage you to refer friends. We know healthcare workers like to have friends and family who are other healthcare workers, that myself included. And so we encourage you to refer them, as we know that you would want to be working with them also, and maybe even traveling with them. We do provide license and certification reimbursement, and our onboarding team works specifically with you to ensure that you meet the requirements that are required for your state, for your practice, for the facility you will be working in. So again, you are fully supported. We also do provide reimbursements, and we do pay for the medical requirements. As you get through the process, you'll find out that you might need a TB, a physical, and some other immunization type records or fit testing in that. We do pay for those, and we do set those up. So again, we support you through that process. We have the dedicated sourcers and schedulers. They are experienced. They are only doing healthcare, so they do understand the areas and skills that are required, and will be working with you. These people, we are available 24/7 to help support. We have assignments throughout the United States, which I think Kunal is going to talk a little bit about, Brooke and Kunal, and I know it's a question you guys have, is where are these great assignments? But we do have assignments throughout the United States. We constantly, every day, every hour, are getting new orders and new assignments too. And we have a dedicated support team. Our company is built on definitely supporting our healthcare professionals. So having clinical support and expertise is important throughout our company, and we do support our clinicians. And I also want to talk about our physician and provider services solutions. We've been talking a lot, and you'll hear us talk a lot about our nursing and allied health professionals. So we do support all areas of nursing, all areas of allied, but we also support physicians and provider solutions. So this does include our physicians. It includes our nurse practitioners, our physician assistants, and our CRNAs. Our goal is to be able to be a full service provider for our healthcare facilities, but also to be able to be a source and available source for all of our healthcare professionals to be able to find positions per diem and travel. And through our physician and provider solutions, they also do permanent positions.
Thank you so much, Kathy. So everyone that has joined the group, the presentation, I'd like for all of you to send us your amazing questions in the chat, and we will be answering them right now. And we already have some great questions lined up, and I will be throwing these to whoever. So our first question comes from Cassandra, and she asks, can I do per diem shifts in multiple facilities?
I can jump in on that. I know Kathy and Kunal as well can shed light on that. We generally have multiple facilities available in certain metro areas, so absolutely, we can credential you for multiple facilities, and wherever you'd like to work, wherever you'd like to pick up shifts, or whoever has the availability that you're looking for, you're able to pick up shifts from multiple locations. Absolutely.
Awesome, thank you. Our next question comes from Ollie, and his question is, I'm planning to start doing per diem shifts. Can I do it in night shifts in Wisconsin? What facilities are available?
So we have recently received a client, and we do have options available in Wisconsin for night shift available, and we can reach out to him with the further details about the assignment. because we would need
Awesome.
like, certain more details about the specialty he's been working on.
Awesome. And then our next question comes from Ji Wung. And the question is, do I need state license to work per DM? She's a fresh graduate from Orlando.
Licensure is required for any assignment that you work in. And we would, again, use our onboarding credentialing team who would work with you to ensure that it's all in place and required. But for Florida, it is a compact type state, so you can be using your license there. But if you're wanting to try some other places, that would be able to work also in some other places. But we would be able to help you through our onboarding team and supporting you with that.
Awesome. And then our next question comes from Jeremy. And the question is night shift, does night shift have higher pay compared to day shift for per diem shifts?
I can answer that. So we do have certain clients available which do offer differential rates for day shift and night shift. So it can depend on different location that you're in.
Awesome. And then our next question comes from Nina. And the question is, how many hours can you work in a week?
I can answer that one, Rafai. Thank you. Mina, you can absolutely pick up full-time hours. It just depends on what you're looking for. Generally, with per diem, I would say OT would need to be approved ahead of time by the manager or scheduler, but we generally don't have any issues scheduling people full-time through our per diem team.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I'm looking. So a lot of these questions I'm seeing are for specific places and specific positions. And I think Kunal did mention that obviously it's a we treat each one individually. So
If I
yeah,
can say something about that, Rafai, if you don't
yeah.
mind, that might answer multiple questions at once.
Mm.
We do have a national presence. We're licensed to place candidates in every state in the US and plus some US territories as well, not to mention. So with that being said, if there's any specific questions about locations or specialties, I would highly encourage you to reach out to our team. Go to our website, send in your application, even if you don't see the perfect position for you yet. Sometimes positions open and close just depending on availability. So I would encourage you go ahead and send your resume through to the team. We do have positions available in every single state. And we also have many, many, many specialties and multiple types of facilities. That's LTAC, short-term acute care, long-term, clinic, whatever you're looking for, we can generally find you something. So if there's any specific questions about that, Rafai, definitely I encourage you all to reach out and we can talk a bit more about your specific situation.
Thank you so much, Brooke. And we have a question here from Sheena, and the question is, howdy. I reside in Rochester, New York, which is a gold mine for business. Hospitals here are picky and usually want you as staff or long distance travel. Would you know upfront if the facility will accept someone before you're required to do a bunch of compliance?
Oh, I love that question. First of all, howdy. I'm in Texas, so I like that you started with that. We do a lot of business in Rochester. You're absolutely right. There is quite a few facilities that use a lot of contingent staffing, so we work heavily in that area. And yes, absolutely, we do not require you to go through any credentialing until you've already received an offer and are locked in with the client. So what that generally looks like is we will send over a preliminary profile of yours, which would include some basic documents, your resume, licensure, any certifications that you hold, a skills checklist, some references, just the basics to start out with. And then once you agree and the facility agrees that it's going to be a good match, we would get you an offer letter. And at that point, you would go over to our credentialing team and they would take care of all of your onboarding. So none of that would happen until you and the facility both agree that it's going to be a good fit.
Awesome. And the next question comes from Mark, and he asks, I'd like to work in a hospital facility. However, I don't have prior hospital experience here in Canada. How can you assist this kind of situation?
And I will take that question, as that would go to our international team of healthcare recruiters and staff. And you would come through as a TN visa to work here in the United States. They will take people without prior hospital experience as long as you have passed the NCLEX. And again, with the appropriate licensure and onboarding credentialing. But we are definitely placing new graduates, and we are placing TN visas, and we do have assignments throughout the United States.
Thank you for that, Kathy. And our next question comes from John, and the question is per diem opened for international nurses already working with Greenstaff?
That's a great question. And unfortunately, you are not, because you're already our international candidates all work 40 hours. And so you would have to be eligible for the overtime, as Brooke had mentioned, with the approval from the facility. But with international, you are locked into being employed full-time by one employer during that period, unless you're past your initial contract period. If you're past your initial contract period, you're allowed to do per diem, travel, any other type of assignment like anybody. But otherwise, if you're still in your initial period of your contract, you are not allowed to work additional per diem.
Awesome. And our next question comes from Laverne. What is the requirement for PRN? I'm looking for something at least 1 to 2 times a week.
It totally depends on the client or the facility that you are interested in, what those requirements are. Generally speaking, anyone per diem or travel for that matter requires 1 to 2 years in the specialty that you want to work. So generally speaking, 1+ years is definitely gonna be able to find you something. 2+ years, you can pretty much work at any of our facilities.
Cool. And then our next question comes from Timothy, who asks if we have LPN and CNA positions available, and how often do we have LPN and CNA assignments available?
Yes, we do have CNA and LPN assignments available, and almost all the time we have multiple options available across US. And we can share more details about the available positions.
Awesome. So this is a question from myself to the speakers of the team. Do you feel like that we haven't touched on any of the frequently asked questions that people would normally ask? Do you think that there's just some extra information that we can give our listeners today?
I just think the biggest thing I would say is that this working per diem with Greenstaff provides the real flexibility that many healthcare workers are looking for. Per diem within a hospital, if you work directly with a hospital, you're tied to one hospital. And you many times have the requirements and restrictions that are tied to their per diem requirements. And a lot of that you do not have to worry about then when you work with Greenstaff.
Thank you so much,
wanted
Kathy.
to add one more thing, Rafai, if I may.
Yeah, of course.
One of the biggest benefits, I think, of us having multiple divisions, I will say, our international program, per diem program, travel program, all of those things can work really well in conjunction. I know Kathy mentioned about we really can't have overlapping assignments, I guess. If you're on an international assignment with us, or if you're working as a traveler with us, you can't pick up per diem at that same time. However, the fact that we do offer multiple options for you gives you the opportunity to stay employed long-term with us. So what that may look like for some is taking a travel position for a few months and then wanting to go back home and working per diem with us for the next few months and then going back on a travel assignment again. We have many candidates that do that. We also have clinicians who travel with us and they love it so much they end up going full-time with those facilities and they still want to continue working with us on a per diem basis. So they may take a permanent position, but they stay employed with us as well on our per diem side, picking up shifts at some of our other clients. So the opportunity that we have here is just the option to stay in working with you for long term and offering you multiple different options. So I think that's one of the biggest benefits of working with Greenstaff is we really offer a lot of different options for you.
Thank you so much, Brooke. And just to round it off, I would just like to tell everyone about our referral program, where you can refer a healthcare professional to us and earn between $150 and $1,000, which is just amazing. And yeah, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today. And next month we will be having our allied specific webinar. So keep your eyes glued onto our socials, and you'll be able to get all our updates. And yeah, thank you again for coming, everyone. Here's our socials one last time. And thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you so much. We appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Bye.